and welcome to the Victorian Toffee Show, the inaugural show for all Evertonians here in Victoria, Australia. I'm Andy, and with me is my good mate Nick.
Hello, welcome everybody.
We have decided to do a show, and we're going to start by talking we'll see what happens, and we'll start with how we became Everton supporters. Nick, how about you go first?
Yeah, so I was brought up in Bedfordshire in England, and my dad was from Wavertree in Liverpool, and unfortunately has brought me up as an Evertonian, and that's how I was given the curse. It's quite tough being a blue down south in the UK, as you can imagine. Everyone supports those lot over the park or Man United, Chelsea. But yeah, followed them ever since I was a kid. And yeah, never looked back really.
Nice, well done. For me, it was back in 2005, and Australia was in November, and about to qualify for the World Cup in 2006, and just watching that happen, it really got me excited. I used to play junior football when I was young, but it just never really interested me. I'm busy just getting subbed off and going straight to the tuck shop to buy a Mars bar. I was that kid. Or when it was my turn to go be a goalkeeper, I was in tears because I didn't want to be the goalkeeper. So when a kid was running with the ball towards the goal, I just ran over to my dad in tears and hugged him because I was just that upset. And as I turned around, the kid just walked the ball into the net and looked really clueless of like what is happening.
He wasn't even nice about it.
That was me. So
he actually went and
and it gets better because like I played with my brother's mates. I was in their team, so he wasn't too happy because like they were complaining to him, going, your brother's not very good.
Yeah.
and then it's like, but you're embarrassing me.
And Tim Cahill would have been at the sort of forefront of Australian soccer at that point as well. So I can imagine that being a bit of a pull factor for the Blues in 2006, that sort of time.
Oh, down here, most definitely. And especially for me, his 2 goals against Japan, winning that game, I just couldn't believe. I guess you could say I jumped on board, but it really introduced me to the game again, which I'm really glad it did. And then just the emotion of that year. And then looking into what team he played for and my favorite. And I've not looked back, and it's really brought me more, it's been really tough being an Everton supporter through the years, but meeting the people that I have and making the friends I have really, it's been worth it really. And that's really nice people.
That's been a big
really
thing. Moving over to a new country and finding like-minded people as well. And we've got this awesome supporters group with, I think 30 to 35 active people that sort of we all have conversations with, and then do meetups and things like that. And I think it's a really good way to sort of network and make friends that way. So we're pretty lucky in that respect. In a city that is full of Coppites, I think we've got a little hub that's pretty solid and
that's right.
To be around.
No, well said, Nick. Yeah, just really good group, and it's just a good laugh when we all catch up or watch a game and stuff. Just really good to see everyone. So that's been my journey with the team, supporting them. I got to see them when they were touring in Australia a few years ago. Some parts I kind of regret, as I drank way too much before the game. So when the game was happening, couldn't really remember too much. I remember Saha's goal. That's about it. But everything else was just a bit of a blur, and getting yelled at by the cops trying to stumble home. That was
Oh,
a bit of a, bit naughty by me, but at the end of it, I was just so happy that, oh my God, Everton is here. Like, oh my God.
what's been your
Yeah,
happiest memory of Everton? It could be
happiest
any.
memory. Oh, I would say one of my favorite experiences at a meetup was it was the Liverpool Everton derby. Phil Jagielka equalizer in the 88th minute. Like that, I've we filled the top room at our old. We used to meet up at the Squires, the James Squires, the Crafty Squire in Russell Street. We moved around a lot before that, but yeah, that's where we were meeting up at that time, and we filled like the top room. They put us our own little top room. All the Reds, I think they had downstairs and a few other places because it's finding an early derby. Like I think it was like a 9 p.m. kickoff. Like very rare these days.
Yeah,
And
that would be
we went
amazing.
1-0 down, bloody Gerrard yet again. Same, same old, same old. And then just, this one last attack, and the ball just gets flicked outside the box and just runs in and shoots it like a rocket. I've never had so many men kiss me. So many, like, just we were just so happy. Like I think everyone was kissing everyone. There was a one red guy at the back. He just and he was just giving us crap the whole time. We're just like, mate, go back downstairs with your mates. And as soon as that went in, we were just all hugging and just cheering. I think a few guys lost their beers. Um,
Small sacrifice.
and then once we all settled down, I'm like, wait, where's that guy? And I looked over, and he took his scarf off, he took his beanie off, and he was just waiting for I guess his partner to finish talking, and then he just like left. Not even a see ya lads, or well done or anything, just I'm done, see ya. And I think uh that's right. A few people saw him leave. We did the, na 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 na, hey, goodbye. Like, oh, so that's like that's definitely, yeah, that's been my most um like the best memory.
Yeah, I think that's.
But also we had
I'm jealous of not being there at that meetup. That sounds like it would have been a good night.
uh, it was great. But also another good one was uh with the it was I think it was a David Moyes era. It was 3-1 at Goodison against United. Rodwell, I think, Tedder, no, not Tedder. Billy Netniov, Rodwell. I can't remember who scored the third one. The third goal was Rodwell, who made this run and just he just couldn't save it, and he like took his shirt off and just jumped in the crowd, and United were on a good run that season, so to do that was just really like, finally. I think that was like my first victory that I've seen against United since supporting them. I think, yeah, that was a few years just before Moyes left, and oh man, Pete, we were jumping on tables, like we were just going nuts, and security had to tell us to get off the tables. But it's like, we've beat United though. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great, mate. Now get off the table. Yeah, that's another thing. Like here in Australia, like just the general just the general look of the game. It's not People don't know how to react to fans and stuff like that. There's been a whole issue with that in our local leagues here with the A League about how the policing has happened and how the game's not really respected. But yeah, it's just like that night was just incredible. And but yeah, no, like I've said, there's been a lot. I would say probably more good ones than bad ones. But not every meetup's been a win recently. So
Yeah, you can never guarantee with the Toffees, can you? But yeah, I think certainly my experience of being over here, and in the last year, obviously we've had the season interrupted, but in 6 months previous, it's been largely positive. I don't think we've lost many games, and it's been always a good atmosphere. I think the best one was obviously Big Dunk when he had his charge
yeah,
against Chelsea, and yeah, I think they were just so up for it, wasn't they? And I remember seeing him,
yeah.
in his shirt and tie, picking up the ball boy, and we were all. I remember like all the tables going everywhere. I think I knocked a few drinks over, had to buy everyone around, and yeah, it's just good times, especially when they do well.
No, definitely that. And like you've just said there, Nick, yeah, that was a really good night. And just, it's all, I don't know, it just seems, I don't know if you find it, but it's always extra special when you beat one of the really, the big six, as they say. Like, it's just a little bit sweet, really sweet when you beat those teams.
Yeah, well, massively. I think it makes it special because on a downer, our record against the big six, especially away, is poor. So when we do get a win against Chelsea, or we nick a point against the Reds, or whatever it might be, it kind of makes it good. Obviously, we want to get to a point where that's a more regular occurrence, and Oviedo in the last few minutes against Man United away is a more regular thing that we don't have to wait 10, 20, 30 years for. And those sort of things. And hopefully Carlo's the man to do it. I think he's going to build a team that's, definitely a solid team that challenges at least. Whether or not in 2-3 years I think he'll be at Everton will be in that top four space, I don't know. But I think he's definitely, looks like he's putting together the foundations of something pretty special, or at least a tight defensive unit that can go and grind out wins like we saw against Leicester. Grind out 0-0 draws against the top sides, that sort of thing, and hopefully add a few more quality players to sort of get that gloss on it. But yeah, I think we're stepping in the right direction. I know I've got off on one there, and we've taken it forward a bit, but that's my thoughts on that.
No, that's all right. So yeah, I'll just also say that, we plan with this show to also get fellow supporters locally or internationally, as a guest, and get to know their story as well about Bologna, the mighty
Yeah.
Toffees. So you talked about the current squad at the moment, so let's do that now.
Yeah,
So yeah, really, we've had some changes in the past week. A lot of players that have left.
Schneidlin's gone.
I would say Schneiderlin's only gone. And last week also we've had Nias gone.
Yeah, well, Nias. I mean, it's hard to with Nias. It's hard to speak ill of him because in the blue shirt he gave it 100% every time he was on the pitch. He had limited technique. Whoever signed him or scouted him, I don't think there was any scouting, but whoever was responsible for that needs to get another job. But yeah, look, I thought he was treated awfully by Koeman. I don't think he was done in the Everton spirit. And he didn't ever go to the press. He didn't have a whinge. He gave, and when we did have to turn to him when we had no one else up front, and he played a few games in the I think 17-18 season or 16-17 season, and he scored 8, 9, 10 goals in the Premier League, and effectively you would say it might be a bit extreme to say this, but he probably kept us up, or at least kept us from coming closer to relegation than we did, especially with those couple of goals against Bournemouth. So I don't.
Oh, most definitely.
I don't blame Nias for signing the contract that he did. I think anyone would have done it in his situation, and that's fine. But someone like Schneiderlin, I think we're just shot of people. We're well shot of characters like him at the club who comes on, takes his mega wage, mopes around the pitch, and gives minimal effort when he's quite a good footballer. But he was terrible for us.
Yeah, it's a real shame how he turned out because I remember early on, like, okay, he's gone from Southampton to Man United to us, and just it really didn't work out at the end. Like it seemed to that he just, I don't know if it was his attitude or what, but it really just came across like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, there was rumours about him and Morales, wasn't there? When they apparently got told to leave the training pitch. I mean, Morales always had questions over his attitude.
Yeah,
I guess we don't know what goes on in the ins and outs, but when there's so many rumours and people talking, then sometimes there's no smoke without fire. And I think I think characters like Schneider
mm,
and Morales, who have all the talent in the world, and they are decent footballers or could be, but they just they don't really care, and they haven't bought into the club. We don't need that, and Everton is. A bit of a unique club in that we do need peak players to buy. And I know it sounds like a romantic idea that we want all these players to care about us as much as Everton as we do about fans. But I think if we can get as many of
mm,
those kind of characters as possible into the club, then I think we'll do well. Because Evertonians, as you know, we could smell it a mile off when a player's there just to collect a wage and doesn't put effort in. And that's why I think
that's
that's why I think
right. Yeah,
at Nias, I don't think many supporters will have any hard feelings with him. Whereas Schneiderlin, I think I think that's probably not the case.
yeah. Definitely. Yeah, with Nias, I just found he always put the effort in, even though he's not sure where, like, what he's actually had, what he has to actually do on the field. Because like a few times he'll just run around like a headless chook. Like you just like, wait, are they doing two up front, one up front? Like, why is he on the wing? Like, what's going on? But then like,
I don't think he
it
knows.
just reminds me of like that horrible game we had against, or multiple horrible home games against Arsenal, a lot of 5-1s. But like he made it 5-2, where he basically just he put pressure on the defender. Defender passed it back to the keeper. The keeper sort of fumbled it, and Niaz just basically
Bulldozed his
like
way
walked
through.
it
Yeah,
into the net, and you're just like, yeah, that's what he does.
yeah.
He'll just he'll just run, chase someone, something out of nothing really.
I mean,
But
there was a time
that
where he was
Bournemouth game was just his.
his
No,
swan song.
go.
Yeah, I think that there was a time when Nias was probably our most effective sub coming off the bench, and you thought this guy can, for hook or by crook, just make something happen. At a time, especially in the Allardyce era and the latter Koeman era, it didn't feel like we had anything on the pitch to create. And I think he just could come on and do something. And you know what? He scored a few good goals as well. It wasn't all just bumbling it into the net. We had a couple of good finishes that I remember. I know we speak about the Bournemouth one, but I think that was particularly a good finish. The first of those two goals. So yeah, I like no hard feelings with him. How do you see the squad at the moment? Obviously, we've trimmed it a bit, and we've got rid of players like Martina and Nias and Schneiderlin, thank goodness. How do you see the squad at the moment? What's your take on it?
I don't know. I see that we're using youth now. Bangami. Is that his name? Bangami?
Banningham, yeah, that's how I say it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like it's good to see his name back on the bench. I hope he gets time because I remember he had a few good games, especially that Chelsea away game a few seasons back. I thought he did quite well. Yeah. And we've got Gordon now who's come in.
Yeah.
His first assist. No, I'm quite happy how things are going. But it's just it's that's got me concerned. It's like, okay, we need to really strengthen this set team. But we're living in a COVID world, so it's like, what's the market going to be like? What players are going to be available?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Gordon, I think in his first game he was a bit shaky, but had a decent game against Leicester from what I've seen. It was a really good setup for Richarlison. That move with Digne and him reminded me of Baines and Pienaar in their peak. The way that sort of went, it was a really, really good move, and obviously Richarlison does what Richarlison does. But yeah, it's good that he's given players like Gordon and a shot, and Banningham is getting on the bench at least, although he's not really coming on. But yeah, it shows that we are having players come through, which is always a positive sign, because I think, as you say, we're living in a world where no one knows what the market's going to be like. No one knows what players are going to be available and for what price. So I think we are going to have to look at our squad a bit more, rather than just throwing the cash around. So yeah, it's Fingers
Right.
crossed.
Yeah.
We've come back looking good as well, which I think is a positive.
Oh, definitely. Let's speak about that now. We'll talk about the Liverpool, Norwich, and Leicester game. So we'll start with the Liverpool game. So yeah, not the best, I would say. Like I've seen like derbies at Goodison, a lot of being 0-0. But being no crowd and all that. Do you think that sort of affected sort of how it went, even though we kind of
Probably
almost snatched it at the end?
probably in a positive way for us sometimes. I do think that
Yeah, true.
players like they're playing with a bit more freedom because look, I personally I know I'm biased. I think we've got amazing supporters, and I think we're some of the best, if not the best, supporters in the country. However, sometimes our fans, because we have come from a successful period, and I think some of the older Evertonians, none of the players are good enough for them, and I do think they get on their backs quite
Mm.
quickly. So I think maybe having no supporters in some ways has helped them potentially. That's just me speculating. In regards to the derby, I thought it was pretty cagey. I thought we defended well. Liverpool obviously had a lot of the ball, and they're a better footballing team than us. Of course, there's no two ways about it. I just wish we could have nicked it at the end. When we had that chance
Yeah.
at the end, I just thought if that was Liverpool, they would have that would have gone in, wouldn't it? You just think that would have gone in,
Mm.
and it was a shame. But I think the way Liverpool are at the moment, a 0-0 was a good result.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Nick. It just kind of just seeing it through that second half, it just seemed like, yeah, take the 0-0, we didn't concede. But yeah, with that chance, like, need to finish that. Like,
Yeah,
I know what he was like, we know, far post, but I don't know, maybe just lift it up a bit or something. Yeah.
yeah,
But
it was
yeah, no,
actually
it
really.
was, 1 point. There you go.
Yeah, I think it's. I get what you're saying with the Tom Davis chance. I think maybe he could have done it, but I also think it was really good defending. Was it Trent Alexander-Arnold that got the top?
Yeah, it
I
came
think.
off him. Yeah.
He's a brilliant player. Yeah, and I think he did actually quite well to just get that little deflection on it, which kind of took it away from the goal and sort of saved them a little bit. So, yeah, I think we can probably be critical of Davis there, but I do think it was good defending from the Copites. So, yeah, a 0-0 will take that all day, I think.
Definitely. Now we'll get on to the Norwich game. What
Nice.
were your thoughts on that one?
I thought it was pretty poor, to be honest. I think we should be going and dismantling teams like Norwich. I have to admit, it's not a game that I watched live. The full 90 minutes. I watched the extensive highlights. Again, I think it's a good sign that we're not playing well and we're going away to teams like Norwich and still grinding out a win. I think that's probably the only positive. Good to see Keane get on the score sheet. He's a player that's
Mm,
coming for a bit of stick over the last season and a half or so, and I think it's good for his confidence because he's probably our third choice centre back now, really, isn't he? I would imagine, maybe vying for that second position with Mina, with Holgate being number one. And I think as long as we've got the three decent centre back, ideally four decent centre backs, all playing well, all scoring headers from corners. Again, that's another big positive, scoring from a set piece, which is something we've struggled with in
that's
recent
right.
years.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, a win's a win at the end of the day. I didn't think it was the best performance though. What did you think?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree with you there. It just didn't seem like. It seemed like they were still trying to gel together, especially in the midfield. And a lot of times, I even noticed it's in the derby with Gomez. Like he would have the ball, and he's holding it and holding it, and I'm like, okay, there's a guy behind you. Get rid of it, and then he'll get the ball taken off him, and I'm like, that's a bit unlike you to let that happen.
Yeah,
Um,
lethargic.
like he's not around he's not aware of his what's around. And even like he would get the ball off someone, and then he would try and do two extra things when he should have just. It's like what they always say. It's always the first pass is always the best choice.
Yeah,
Um, he just I I know. Just I think it's with all our midfield at the moment. They're holding onto the ball with maybe two to three, too many touches, and just go with that first choice. Like, okay, you got the ball, you're free, get rid of it. Like, no, don't go that. Okay, they just took the ball off you. Like things like that. What I find really frustrating. Because you you've seen those players play when we're playing really good, and they don't do that. So it's always like, wait, why are you doing that? You don't do that.
Yeah, I think our midfield in general, especially in the centre, centre to me seems too slow, and we need someone who's really going to burst from box to box. I think ideally, I'm not, I am hoping that Tom Davies will be that player eventually. I do have reservations about
Yeah.
whether that will come to fruition. But yeah, I do think we are missing. I think Andre Gomez is a fantastic player, and I think he can sort of sit deep and break up play and pick out hopefully an easy pass when he's got a bit more game time and things.
Yeah, I think that's what he just needs, more game time.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think sort of we should be looking at someone else in that middle of the park. I think there's obviously someone there. There's someone to take Schneiderlin's spot, for example, in the squad. And yeah, hopefully we'll get someone who can do that. What do you reckon about our winger situation? We've got Iwobi and Bernard as well, who seem to be sort of vying for that position. What's your take on them?
Well, in this game, in the Norwich game, I thought Iwobi was playing really well. The inconsistencies are still there. Like,
Yeah.
He'll do a good thing, but then he does a bad thing. But then he'll correct that mistake, but then he'll make another mistake, things like that. And sometimes he'll just take the ball, run with it, stop, look around, and pass back. It's like, okay, you probably could have just kept running. But yeah, things like that. I think it's his confidence maybe, but also I just find maybe they're still trying to figure out what his best position is maybe, because I've heard some people say he's good as a 10 in the middle.
Mm.
But
Oh, yeah.
and with Bernard, yeah, he hasn't come on much, except for in the next game when we get to that. But yeah, no, I think between those two, I don't know, maybe keep going with Irobi, but it's hard to pick.
I love Bernard. I think Bernard's an exciting player, and that little bit of
Yeah.
flair. I think every Everton supporter wants to see someone who can make things happen, who can look up and do something cheeky or whatever, albeit a bit too inconsistently. I think Iwobi's only 23 years old, which I was surprised at because he's been around for a long time, and he was starting regularly for Arsenal, so he's there is a player in Iwobi. Absolutely, I think sometimes you're absolutely right in that he's so inconsistent. Sometimes I think yes, he'll take the ball forward and run with it, and looks like a really intelligent footballer, and then other times he'll just I don't know. He sort of undo all his good work within a game by picking the wrong pass. A really bizarre moment. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't really analysed whether or not I think that he'll be better in the centre. But I think a player like Iwobi, I think we should try and incorporate him into the team somehow. And if he can sort of run through the middle, then we should give it a shot. But yeah, then do you stick Richarlison out on the wing? It's hard to fit all these players in sometimes.
That's right. Yeah, it's hard to choose like where the player's not performing and you put this other play in. Okay, well that means I have to move this other one. Like everyone's all linked together if you move things.
And Carlo seems to be going with 4-4-2 at the moment. He seems to. I don't know whether or not that's his preferred formation, but obviously with the players that he's got at his disposal now, as we speak, 4-4-2 where it's to go.
Working, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So obviously DCL and Richarlison are the two up front, and Sigurdsson is playing as a normal central midfield as opposed to a number 10. So Iwobi really only fits in on the wing. So I guess that's what he's had to do. I mean, I don't think Iwobi's been bad out there. I just think, as you say, he's very inconsistent.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, no, a good win. So we'll get on to the Leicester City game. So yeah, that was a game of two halves for sure.
Yep.
But what a good first half.
Yeah, really fast out of the blocks. We looked really good going forward, and I think we could have probably had a couple more, which was good. We got a penalty, which was unusual,
Finally.
unusual for us. I think. And what did you think of that penalty? Because I thought it was harsh. I know a lot of people said it's stonewall. I thought it was harsh. I don't know how VAR can be given that as clear cut. But
I
I
just
think
couldn't believe how long they took to look at it.
yeah.
Like kept showing it and showing it. I'm like, yeah, I see what's happened. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
just
kept
think
going on and on and on. And it's like, well, if they're looking at this one for so long, why wasn't the one against Spurs with Dele Alli looked at so long? That took like a second. They're like, no, so it took a second, but this one takes like 3 or 4 views. I
yeah,
don't know.
there's no
But I don't
consistency.
know. For me, I just thought it was an abnormal way to jump up and yeah, whole
Yeah,
hand above.
I'll probably have to look at it again because I think I was watching it at silly o'clock in the morning, and I haven't really seen it since. But I think at the time I thought, how was that clear cut? But I know a lot of people would disagree with me, so I don't know, maybe I'll have to look at it again. But yeah, anyway, regardless, we've deserved penalties and not got them, so I think we'll take that one, and I think
Exactly. Yeah.
we deserve to go in at half time 2-0 up. So yeah, we'll take those all day, and it's good to see Sigurdsson scoring and being of use because I think
Yeah. Very
sometimes he falls
cool, calm, and collective on the penalty spot.
the Iceman. But second half was tougher. Leicester came at us.
Yeah, they just dominated the ball, chances as well, but not really clear cut chances. They kind of just, a lot of switch play, long balls, that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think Leicester are always going to come out of us. They've got really quick players up front. Vardy's a handful. Iheanacho. Whenever I've seen Iheanacho, I'm surprised he hasn't kicked on because he looks like a real player. I thought he looked good for Man City.
Yeah,
And
I've liked him as well.
I
Yeah.
really like him, and I think I don't know what's happened with his career a bit. It seems to have sort of gone by the wayside. He doesn't really get much game time, but again, he causes problems and got the goal, which made us squeaky bum time for the rest of the second half. But I think again, backs to the walls. Maybe a couple of years ago we would have conceded that equaliser, maybe even have gone on to have lost the game. So to hold on to that 2-1 against an amazing side like Leicester. Leicester are up there they're in the top four for a reason. I think was again another really good sign that we're going in the right direction because we're not technically as gifted as a side like Leicester, but if we can grind out results, I think that's a really good thing for our psyche and yeah, if we know that we can do that. I don't know where I'm going with this, but if we know that we can do that with other teams, we should grind out more results.
Yeah, no, I see I get what you mean, but yeah, because it's been a while since we've had ugly wins. Like that used to be David Moyes' thing. Like we would win
1-0
ugly
grind.
1-0 or something. Yeah. Yeah, grind them out, and I think that's what we did. And yeah, credit to the manager. Like they held out, and he knows they still didn't play well, and even King did. Like in the I think one of the interviews he said, yeah, no, we can do much better than this. The second half was terrible. Happy for the 3 points, but yeah, we can't perform like that. And it's like, well, good. They're realizing that, and hopefully this week at training they have, and we'll see what happens in the next game. And speaking of the next game, we'll have a look what's coming up, and
Yep.
we've got Spurs
Spurs
Tuesday morning,
the
5 a.m.
grand spanking London Stadium. Not the London Stadium,
Yeah.
Stands ground, but yeah. So Tottenham. I know that they're not in the best of form at the moment. Things don't seem all rosy there, but Tottenham away is always a tough match. I think.
Yeah, I think you have to put the form guide to the side when you play Tottenham.
Yeah,
Especially with us.
absolutely. Especially a Jose Mourinho's side that will
Yeah.
be defensive, and they've got the players to hit us on the break, like Son, like Kane, the Brazilian lad, I forget his name, who looks like a decent player. Bergwijn as well. They've got those players that can really hurt you on the break, and they're a solid defensive unit when they want to be. So I think it's tough. I think not having the crowd there again will help us. I think Tottenham's an intimidating place to go. It's just whether or not we can carry on being as defensively resolute against those kind of players and maybe nick something on the break. I don't think we're going to go there and dominate them on the ball. But the way things are going at the moment since the restart, I think we've got a decent chance of getting a result, whether it be a draw or a win. So and if we do maybe nick a win, then we're right up there, aren't we?
No, definitely. I reckon if we get like a 1-0 or even just, snatch it or something, definitely up there in it with the European spots.
Yeah. What do you think about that in regards to, do you want Europa League?
I would say it would be a good test if we get there, especially with like what players we can get for it. Because the squad's going to be really stretched out if we get there and stuff. But I think how the seasons have gone and all that, and we still have probably a few players we do want to move around. Maybe it's probably, and I know financially how things are going, maybe it's not the best idea to have it. But hey, if we get that, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I think my head says no. My head says the squad's too small, and the history dictates that it's a bit of a distraction, a bit like when the league should, and finishing higher up in the league should be our priority. However, I love European nights. I love seeing Everton away at places like Bremen or Nuremberg or Lille or whatever it might be. And then it just reminds me of those days in like sort of the 07-08 period with Cahill and Achibi.
Yes. Yeah.
Arteta, those sort of players. That was a really good period and fond memories of that. And I think if we can replicate, that'll bring a lot of good spirit to the club. But from a getting my head on it, I probably prefer to just finish outside and then build something for next season. And then, if we get Europa League the following season, finishing 5th or 6th, I think that'll be a good stepping stone. I think now is a bit too early.
No, I agree with you there. So looking at the table, we're on 44 points. Newcastle's on 42, so they're 2 behind us, and we got Burnley ahead of us with 45, and Spurs are on 45. So, we get whatever happens, tonight with Sheffield United. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with those teams above us on the 40, late 40s there, because or probably not except Arsenal because they won this morning. But yeah, probably Sheffield United down. It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I think it's doable, but I do think we have to go away to Tottenham and win. I think if we lose that game, then I think that's kind of Europa League over. Again, as you say, depending what happens with Sheffield United, because they're probably catchable. But I'm not even sure the Europa League might go down to 8th, maybe, or 7th or 8th, because of what's happening with Man City in the Champions League.
I think that's still happening. I'm not too sure.
I think now it's just important for us to not even really think about Europa. Just try and finish up the size. Try and get as many wins as possible. Get some good feeling towards the end of the season.
Most definitely, yeah. Just finish whatever points we can get, and just end the season. And focus on the season. Like, just move on. This year's been pretty terrible as it is.
Yeah. Good Lord,
and, yeah. Focus on other things. For that. So we'll finish up there with some, if there's any transfer talk.
We've been linked with about 6 million players. I think I can't pretend to be an evangelist on European football. I've heard Gabriel from Lille seems like a decent player and one that we've been linked with for a while. Is it Lille?
Yeah, I feel like that deal's being done verbally, but they can't come agreements of the cost. Yeah, but like it's all rumor. Like nothing's really set out. Like there's even all this stuff about Coutinho. Like he would join us, but
Oh,
he'll
don't.
be on loan or something. Was I heard?
If we
But
get,
I don't know. I just
I'll buy you drinks every meetup. I'll buy you drinks all night if we get Coutinho because it's just not going to happen. I
it
mean,
just wouldn't happen.
no, I don't think. I think that's a bit pie in the sky. If we got Coutinho, the thing is, the game has changed a little bit in that regard because Ancelotti's our manager, and Carlo Ancelotti can attract a lot of people, and we do seem to have the finances to get those big players. I think Coutinho is a bit of a stretch. I do think we need another central midfielder, a box to box, someone that can do that sort of role. We do need a centre back, so I think if Gabriel seems to be that player, or Koulibaly from Napoli, I think is another one that's been touted. Although I think Koulibaly, from what I've seen, could play for anybody. He could go to Barcelona, Real Madrid, whatever it might be. So whether or not it'll come to us, I don't know. I can't really think of any other players that we'd be linked to. I know there's been millions, but is there anyone that's caught your eye?
No, I just knew about the Coutinho and the Gabriel one. And I know any Napoli player who's had a disagreement with Gattuso, basically.
I think it's all of them, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll finish up there. Thanks everyone for watching our first episode. Let us know what you think. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Toffees Victoria, and we've got a Facebook page as well. Victorian Supporters Club, Everton Supporters Club of Victoria, and we also have a group page where we plan our meetups and such, which Nick helps run as well.
We're also on Instagram. There's not much up on there because it was made at a time where COVID was just kicking off. But the plan is once this all settles down, there'll just be sort of pictures from meetups on there. And, it won't be things about transfer rumors. It'll just be for everybody to connect and share photos of nights out with the group and that sort of thing, and just promote the supporters club. But there's various different mediums, and we're hoping that this will be a regular show that we get to we get fans on to to unload and hopefully give some insight.
That's it. Oh, thank you very much, and see you later.
See you guys.